I scored a 524 on the MCAT. Here's a quick summary of high-yield enzyme kinetics facts. So remember, the Vmax is the maximal rate of the reaction, whereas Km, the Michaelis-Menten constant, is a substrate concentration at which the V0, the initial rate of the reaction, is exactly 1/2 the Vmax. Perhaps more importantly, it also reflects enzyme affinity for substrate, where a higher Km means a lower affinity of the enzyme for the substrate and vice versa. A lower Km means that the enzyme has a higher affinity for the substrate. Another high-yield topic is enzyme inhibitors. Remember, competitive inhibitors are substrate analogs which compete with the substrate for the enzyme active site. These raise the apparent Km of the enzyme. In other words, they decrease the apparent affinity of the enzyme for the substrate. However, they do not change the Vmax because with enough substrate concentration, they can be outcompeted and the Vmax can be achieved. Now, non-competitive inhibitors are a special type of mixed inhibitor which have equal affinity for both the free enzyme and the enzyme substrate complex. These bind only allosteric sites, and they do not change the Km overall, but they do decrease the Vmax. Finally, uncompetitive inhibitors are inhibitors that only bind allosteric sites and only of the enzyme substrate complex. These will actually decrease the apparent Km. However, they will decrease the Vmax as well. So if you know these things about enzyme kinetics, you'll be ready to answer a lot of MCAT questions. Check out our Discord community.